Hey everyone, how's it going? And welcome to another weekly episode where we look at some book covers, talk about why they're great, offer a few ideas on how to make them even better, and then let you vote for your favorite in the link down below. And speaking of down below, there are a number of things down there: a bell button, a subscribe button, a like button, all those kinds of things that you could click. And that would be a great way to support me, and I would really appreciate it. The one I want to talk about most is what has to do with me. I am your humble host, M.L.S. Weech, and I am an independent self-published author. And if you would click on my author link down there and look at my books and see if any of them interest you, that would be greatly appreciated. So the way we do this is we talk about the winner from last week and then talk about 7 more book covers that you can vote on this week. This happens to be the last week of the February competition. And then we will start looking at the next month, and we're getting very, very close, because once we have 12 winners, we will have the book cover of the year poll that you can vote on. And then that's it. We've done it. We've done a thing. So we're going to name the winner from week 3 so that we can start looking at who we want to represent February in week 4. The winner for week 3 is Outcast by Louise Carey. So this had a lot of things going for it. It had great color, a nice use of the reflection technique, pretty decent execution of silhouettes, and some pretty cool fonts. So all in all, it was a well-conceived cover that was well executed. And so congratulations to the winner and best of luck in the February contest. Now that we've looked at the winner from last week, we're going to look at these from this week. And the first cover we're going to look at is Visions and Lies by Lori C. Thompson. Bring that up for you. So one thing I appreciated about this was the light. Interesting in how hard the light is. I don't know if that individual is supposed to look, usually when you're lighting a woman, you're going to use softer light. This light cannot help but make anyone look somewhat threatening, somewhat intimidating. So it's interesting. If I were going to read the story, I would do so wondering if this is the villain or if it's kind of like a female anti-hero. The spot color is great. The red hair with the blue dress, and then you have all the primary colors involved because you got that green tint, that swirl of magic around her. So it's just clever use of color, interesting use of light. I would be a little angry, like the distinction is this light making her look more foreboding. I would hope is a decision that was made with regard to the overall theme of the character, but it's still pretty interesting. And if you like it, you can vote in the link down below. The next book cover we're going to talk about is Undoing Time by Rachel Decay. So this is, to me, the thing that caught my eye was just the nice overlay, the flowing black dress. This is probably a cover that was done where someone shot a model in a studio and then sold the regulars, and then someone else designed it. It appears as though there's a lot of the technique called blending, where you use a gradient tool in Photoshop to blur aspects in one on top of another. And if I'm correct about my assumption, this is a pretty good demonstration of that blending technique. Really, I just like the clocks floating around. I only really appreciate that one aspect of it. The light's a little flat, the text really it's spaced out oddly, and it's not really contributing to the overall design. But the blending technique and the use of studio photography, those are things I don't highlight a whole lot. So I wanted to give this guy a shot. And if you want more of these, you got to vote for this cover. So I have an idea on what consumers are looking for these days. The next cover we're going to talk about is all about color, and that's Interference by Terry Grimwood. I'm going to bring it up for you guys right over here. Interference by Terry Grimwood is it's an interesting use of monochromatic color and shading. So you have this deep red, and everything in here is red. It goes from vibrant, it goes from pinkish red all the way down to dark crimson red, and every shade in between, including a silhouette down in the lower quadrant or the lower third of the overall design. So it's very challenging, and I wanted to give it some credit because I'm actually red-green colorblind. And when I can see that distinction, that means some artists took incredible pains to execute this technique. And, that in and of itself deserves a little bit of credit. These columns of whatever they are creating this nice repeating pattern that the silhouette breaks up in and of itself. So there's something that anchors the eye to the work, and there's something that moves the eye around the design. Not the biggest fan of the title text. If I'm being too hard on it, I would say that neutral design technique is bad because it doesn't add to the design. And that's true. That's accurate. If I'm being nice, I would say that neutral text is not hurting the design, and so it's okay. I don't know what side of the fence you fall on. All of my training and all the stuff that we teach at the school that I teach at continually reinforces the idea, hey, if it doesn't add to your design, it's bad for your design. I tend to uphold that belief, but I didn't want to, a bad design element doesn't in and of itself mean the whole design is bad, especially when you get into something as subjective as text can be. So, if you like it, you can vote for it. The next cover we're going to talk about is Assassin's End by A. Lonergan. And if I'm just being honest, I could not say A. Lonergan enough. I just find it amusing to say that author title. I don't think it's a funny name. It's just a fun name to say. So the rendering of this figure is not fantastic, but the detail and the attention paid to it is still worthy of note. I can try to make it larger, but that's not really going to help a whole lot with helping you see the quality. The lighting on this subject is very flat. There are things about the proportions that feel a little bit off, and even in the manner in which she's sitting with this awkward arm kind of tucked in, feels weird in review of this. It's still a relatively cool, it's certainly better than anything I could draw, just to be upfront on it. I'm not a quality manual artist, so I have to discuss what isn't done well, even if it's something I couldn't do any better than in and of itself. It's just the nature of critiques. In this case, the hair is actually well done. The outfit's actually well done. I would give the artist credit for their understanding of clothing and their understanding of hair and how well they did all of the environment. It's just the actual rendering of the figure in the light that I like less. But that title text is awesome. That overall concept does a good job of moving the eye around the frame, and those things matter. So it's not a bad design, but I will acknowledge that the rendering of this figure isn't as good as other renderings could be. The next one we're going to look at, we've actually seen a few of the covers in this series, but they're good. They're good, and they keep working. This is A Society in Decay by D.K. Holmberg, and it follows the same patterns that the other cover does. Whenever you're doing a contest where you're looking throughout a whole year, inevitably you're going to find duplicates because the style in itself is so great. This is also from the same series, so you would expect to see same font choices, same scheme, and that's what this is. This is a little unique from other covers we've had. I think there was even a winner if I look back in the archives, but usually there's a larger background figure and a smaller foreground figure. And for the first time in the series that I am aware of, the two figures on the cover are equally weighted, even though one is positionally dominant, meaning in front. It's still a great color scheme. It's still a great use of text. It's still good use of layering. So all of those things, combined with the fact that this scheme is already good. And so even though there are other covers that we have seen and maybe even one that's already been nominated, I can't deny how good this particular cover is. So, you know, if you keep looking at stuff, you're going to notice more people take from those ideas. The next one we're going to look at is Dragon Ire Bad Blood. I believe that's how you pronounce it. And, you know, one, dragons are cool. This uses this technique I talked about a little while ago, where you tilt the horizon or you tilt the lens. There's another phrase, but it might be derogatory. So I don't want to use something that might be offensive to other people. But when you tilt the lens, you create some interesting compositional elements. In this case, tilting that horizon allows us to have a dynamic pose from the dragon that also allows us to see all of that dragon in its awesome red angry majesty. So just like we talked about with an earlier book cover, when you can have gradiated distinction in a dominantly monotone landscape or figure or creature, then you're doing a lot of work with your design, and that's worthy of note. It's a wicked looking dragon. It's pretty solid text. It's well-placed author text. So at the end of the day, sometimes you just look at something and be like, that's really cool. And it draws your attention and it might get you to pick up the book. The next cover we're going to look at is The Light We Lost by Kyla Stone. First up, dogs are cute. Even though that dog is like 1% of the whole frame, dogs are cute. They're going to draw my attention. I like the Northern Lights aspect, even though they're warmer than I would expect. Most of the Northern Lights, to my knowledge, run into cool zone from your teal to your light green, maybe a few blues in there. To have the oranges and the yellows kind of blending in, it draws in the eye a little bit better. It catches your attention. And it's probably plot related, so that's also of value. I'm always of two minds when I see the backs of people. If the scene is what it's about, let it be about the scene. If the characters are what it's about, let it be about the characters and let us see those characters. We see this post-apocalyptic style over and over and over again. At the very least, bring the size of those people down, because if they were important, we should be seeing their faces. And if they're not important, but they're additional elements in your design, then bring their size down so that we can focus more on the landscape, because that's what this design is basically about. Now, you're a USA Today bestseller. You don't really care what M.L.S. Weech thinks, but those are things that are design pet peeves of mine. And, you know, I got my own, you know, school frustrations that came about that kind of concept, but it remains true. People want to connect to characters. So if you make a dominant, visually centered character in the design, they're typically going to want to look at them. And then when they don't have eyes, the eyes wander off, and there's a little frustration there. And that is something that could exist with this particular book cover. All right, believe it or not, that's all 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those are indeed your 7 book covers. I didn't expect to roll through them that quickly. So those are your book covers for this week. When you finish voting for your favorite here, I'll do another episode and announce the winner, and then you can start voting for your favorite book cover for the whole month of February, even though we're not in February. It gets a little weird with how weeks line up, and I only do 4 per month. But that's what we're calling it. We're rolling with February so that we're making our way down to the end of the month competition. And on that note, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Really? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we'll pick our 11th book cover, and then we get to pick our final book cover for the year and do the book cover of the month, the book cover of the year competition, which I hope you guys are super excited to get to doing, where you look at all these great winners from all the previous months and you vote for your favorite of favorites. So I hope you'll stay tuned for that. Please remember to click all the things down in the description below. And as always, God be with you. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.